Hello, everyone. Do you ever feel like sometimes you're having a conversation and it's about something complicated and nuanced and involved, and you're trying to basically discuss ideas with the best people who know the most about the subject, and then somebody joins and just says something so stupid, and you're just looking at him it's like, where did you come from? This is the feeling I'm having about this particular piece of news, which is across multiple channels, by the way, both American and European. So Nigel Farage came out of the whatever hole he was hiding in, and said in an interview that well, yes, it wasn't terribly nice of Putin to invade Ukraine, but it was all NATO's fault. Okay, checkpoint, Nigel. Tell me something. If it was NATO that orchestrated the Orange Revolution and the Maidan, why did NATO, who supposedly orchestrated it, sat back on its ass for weeks while Yanukovych's elite troops, Berkut, were slaughtering unarmed civilians? Why didn't NATO swoop in with, I don't know, Apache helicopters and put an end to this? Also, after the Orange Revolution succeeded, Yanukovych was ousted, Ukraine established its own temporary government and conducted its own elections. How come NATO sat on its ass while Crimea was taken? Or when Russians began military operations in the Donetsk-Luhansk region? Or when Russian troops shot down the passenger airplane that wasn't even Ukrainian, but carried people from other countries? Where was NATO then? If you orchestrated something, wouldn't you be interested that it succeeds and intervene if things started going badly? Well, things have been going badly for Ukraine for 10 fucking years now. And NATO is only now starting to take a more active part. So tell me, Nigel, how does that work? Where is the logic? Fuck off, moron. Back to the war. Back to the actual business, now that the useless twit had a chance to say whatever. So this is interesting. Russia is talking about the sixth generation fighter jet, but it has not been actively using Su-57 that they already have, which makes no sense. I think part of the problem is somewhat of a loss of prestige. What I'm talking about is that early in the war, they were boasting how amazing their weapons were, how, indestructible their ships and airplanes were. Of course, now we know it's not true. Ukraine had just recently destroyed one of their allegedly indestructible jets. It had sunk something like 30 or 40% of Russia's Black Sea fleet, so they don't even send those out anymore. So, this could be honestly just one big PR campaign to say, no, we have something up our sleeve. Well, fine, send it, we'll destroy it too. Going back to, it's all NATO's fault. Explain to me which action of NATO specifically had caused Russia to do this. On top of everything else it's done. Bucha, Irpin, Mariupol, Kharkiv, destruction of many things in my native Zaporizhia. Then there is this. So, as we know, they have heavily targeted and destroyed a large portion of Ukraine's electrical grid, and now people are facing rolling blackouts, including people like this woman in this article from CNN, who basically, is in that situation where there is no electricity, there is no water. So her water pump is electrical. So she has to schedule her little kids' baths around the blackouts. Tell me, which specific NATO action had provoked Russia to do this to Ukrainian mothers and children? A lot of people, like this lady here, in order to be able to feed their families and provide hot meals to their children, are now stocking up on camping equipment, like the little portable gas stoves and such, to be able to cook. This is an extension of what they were forced to do in the winter when electricity went down. My parents did this, where they built blanket forms and heated them with candles or oil lamps. So, against the backdrop of that particular horror, as people are living in the wartime conditions, it's nice to know that EU, at least, is starting to get some movement when it comes to Ukraine's application to join the European Union. Current EU presidency is in the hands of Belgium. So Belgium said that member states had agreed to negotiate. Of course, there are those who oppose Ukraine's joining EU and support Russia. Hungary, Serbia, and Slovakia. To those, I want to ask, are you guys suffering from like a massive memory loss? Because all of you guys used to be part of the socialist bloc under the Soviet Union. Do you forget what it was like back then? Do you want to go back to that? Are you nostalgic for that? Because maybe you need a little bit of a historic review on what it was like when you were under Russia's heel. At one point, somebody challenged me on what sources I used, and this was one of the sources I listed. This is the Institute of the Study of War. I don't cite it here often, but it is an excellent source, and it is one of the sources that talks about Ukraine and the war in Ukraine basically changing how the war is waged these days. So, yesterday, they released this article. It is amazing. So if you're into history, if you are into some in-depth analytics of political and military situation, this one is for you. Look it up. It is amazing. It's huge. It's very extensive. So look it up. So worth it if, like I said, if you are a scholar. Among other things, for those of you who are like me and who are visual and need to see what's going on and get confused about like where things are in Ukraine, they do have excellent maps, with legends showing, where things are, if there's any progress being made, what is happening. So there's one piece I wanted to show you specifically that gave me hope. So right now it doesn't look so great. All of that red, this is Russian occupied territories. But let's zoom in. This is Zaporizhia and Donetsk region and Crimea there in the south. See those little purple spots? That is underground movement. That is Ukrainian underground movement operating in the heart of the occupied territories. And that gives me hope. This is Ukraine.